Fresno, California today.
Okay, sometimes I hold my breath, yeah. I don't got no time to spare. I could go my way, go yours. You see real life, I see toys. I don't got no time to spare.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is the second episode of Luxic Vue Mindset. I have a very special guest with me today. I'm super excited to have him on. Live from Las Vegas is Doug McLallin. He's a really good buddy of mine. You know, we met, I think, about 2 years ago, right, Doug? 2.5 years ago in Fresno. Yeah. And, back then, Doug was a Forex trader. He still currently is, but he was diving into real estate and just seeing him, blossom into the person that he is today. And this is only the beginning. And the reason I brought Doug on the show is because he's a perfect representation of what Luxic Vue stands for, in his own way. That's the beauty of Luxic Vue, is there's beauty in perspective. Okay. Now, we're going to go through and take a deep dive into the life of Doug and understand where he comes from. We're going to get into things that he's currently doing, because this man is super busy. I was lucky enough to carve out some time. Well, he carved out some time for me. So Doug, tell us a little bit really quick. Why are you in Vegas? You were telling me, I think it was a business trip, correct?
Yeah. I'll get in. First off, wanted to, just thank you, for thinking of me to be a part of it. I've already, started watching some of your videos. So, really thank you so much for having me. Luxic Vue, I'm actually out here in Las Vegas right now. I'm staying in the Luxor. Hotel, and we have the Luxic Vue. So I figure, yin and yang, right? So
yeah.
But a little bit about me. I was actually born, believe it or not, in Korea. Adopted at a very, very young age. Grew up some of my life in the Bay Area, and majority of my life in Fresno. Came from great heritage. As far as my birth parents, and my foster parents. They raised me extremely well. I imitate a lot of, behavior that I'm surrounded by, especially when you're young. I definitely, I picked up my father's work ethic at a very, very young age. My father's actually retired now, but kind of going through all the phases, I picked up a lot of, different things from him. But I'm actually out here in Las Vegas right now. We actually have a event going on today, closer to about 4 or 5 o'clock on our side. And what we're doing is actually we're creating a network event for people to come out, not only share their businesses, but promote their business ideas to not only potential investors, but also to people who are like-minded, like all of us. So that is what we're doing out here today. It's been an experience so far. Obviously in Vegas, it's business, right? But you're also surrounded by pleasure also. So
you got to find that balance.
You got to find the balance, right? But that's why we're out here right now. It should be a great event today. We're gonna have a lot of food, and we should have a good amount of people. We've been networking these past couple of days, so it should be pretty good.
That's awesome, man. Congrats again. I've been keeping up with you, like I said, for a while, and it's interesting that I didn't know, some of how you grew up. How was it, just for the people that don't know, because I didn't grow up like you. We got two different lifestyles. How was it, growing up? Were you in foster care, or were you just, adopted early on?
So I was actually adopted at a very young age. I wasn't even a year old yet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just kind of a plain backstory, just a kind of a quick backstory. My birth mother, she had me at a very young age. And believe it or not, my birth father, actually, he passed away at a very young age as well. He participated in a lot of, what was going on in Korea at the time. And unfortunately, he didn't make it. And, my birth mom, she was, a single mother. And, you know, obviously she wasn't working, you know, culture is a little bit different, you know, on that side. So, you know, she wanted a better life, or she wanted me to have a better life, more opportunity. And, you know, there's just so many blessings and so many things to be grateful for, because, you know, there's a very high probability, you know, just me being, you know, in the position that I am now, you know, there's a very high probability that all of this could have been taken away from me, that, you know, I could still be in Korea. I could still be, you know, really managing in foster care, you know, whatever the situation is. But you know, I think about that every day, and I count my blessings every single day. But definitely a little different, you know, when you think about just a switch in culture like that, just to go from one exotic culture just to, you know, a completely new environment. You know, obviously I was a baby, so, you know, I wasn't really understanding things at that point anyway. But you know, I think about that every day. I count my blessings every day I wake up, and that's definitely one of the affirmations that I have for sure. So
That's powerful, Doug. You know, I mean, obviously nobody knows how, or nobody knows. We don't walk around like with our past on our shoulder. You know what I mean? When did you move from the Bay to Fresno?
So actually, I was about so we lived up in Napa Valley till I was about 8, and then I went to, you know, elementary school in like the Clovis schools, and, you know, I kind of got, you know, ever since I've been kind of, you know, plugged into the same area, you know, ever since. But, you know, I have had different experiences, you know, living in different places before, but, you know, I would say, you know, majority of my life is definitely, you know, due to Fresno. So,
There you go.
yeah.
So a lot of people think there's no good, you know, stories that come from Fresno, or no good people, but I know a lot of good people. You're one of them. You know, that's where I met you. Now, I mean, you went to high school in Fresno. Which high school did you go to?
Yeah, I actually, so I graduated 2014. I
Okay.
went to Clovis High. You know, right now I'm currently, you know, obviously, you know, as you mentioned, you know, I'm doing real estate and trading. I am currently going to Fresno State as well. You know, I did take a semester off, from school to kind of get some things realigned, but you know, with everything being online too, it's kind of a no-brainer to go to school right now. Just, you know, it's just a lot easier. But you know, some people would have a different perspective. But yeah, I graduated Clovis High 2014. You know, it's been probably close to 7 years almost. So that's a little mind blowing sometimes.
Right.
So,
Time
yeah.
flies, man. Time flies, especially when you're creating the life that you want to live. You know, it's just like, man, I can remember 2 years ago when you were just, I don't think you were just starting in trading, but you were already, you know, establishing that habit. And you were even asking me back then, you know, real estate, you know, you had some questions in the past. And so it's cool to see you transcend where you were to where you're at now. You know, now, at what point in high school, because, you know, were you always in college, or did you just start going back? Or you said you took a break, but
So when the minute I graduated, you know, I obviously in 2014, you know, I just turned 18. Actually, I was 18 when I graduated. The first thing I did when I graduated was I started looking for apartments. You know, I wanted to, you know, I have the mindset, you know, to where my family, you know, my mom doesn't live in Fresno anymore, but, you know, my family always had the mentality, you know, hey, you can always, you know, you're always welcome to stay with us. You're always, you know, don't feel like we're going to kick you out. You know, for me, I had the mindset, you know, I want to go out there. I want to experience, you know, living on my own, having a space of my own. Not only that, but being able to, you know, learn how to budget, learn how to, you know, just deal with expenses. To be honest, I you know, from 18 to literally probably now, you know, I was basically, you know, living on my own, you know, just trying to, you know, work 9 to 5 jobs, you know, get the bills paid barely, have a little bit extra money left over, and, you know, really trying to, you know, just get by, essentially. But, you know, the whole journey of me, you know, you said that, you know, you've been talking to me since, you know, the 2 years ago and whatnot. You know, it hasn't been an easy journey, man. I've worked so many jobs, you know, in my life that, you know, I never say I regret things, but there are just jobs that, you know, I question myself, like, you know, why did I commit so much time working at these jobs, you know, because, you know, I've been working since I was 15 and a half.
Wow.
One of my first jobs, I actually worked at Wild Waters Adventure Park, very seasonal. But I actually became a supervisor at like 16. Like
Wow. Was it fun? Was it a fun job?
Oh yeah, it was incredible. Like it was more food and beverage. I wasn't like a lifeguard or anything,
Oh, okay.
but you know, the premise of it was that, you know, I learned quick, and you know, and they noticed that. So they literally, after my first year, I went back the next year, and I actually became a supervisor, and I was actually in charge of people. And you know, nobody really took me serious because I was a young kid.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a 17-year-old telling you what to do. You're just like, bro, like, you know, don't. But the premise of all the jobs that I've worked is that I'm a very quick learner. So, you know, it became to the point to where I kept working these jobs. I kept, you know, like just going, repeating the same structures over and over again. But the key was I wasn't learning anything. My managers, the owners, the coworkers I had, you know, I wasn't learning anything myself, right? I was just doing the same routines over and over again. And you know, they have a quote that, you know, a lot of millionaires say. They say, you know, uh, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. I was driving myself insane working at these jobs because I was trying to like build myself up more, but I was just doing the same jobs. So, you know, about a year and a half ago, you know, majority of the jobs, you know, I was working, you know, restaurants and whatnot. I got a sales job, believe it or not. And I was working with Verizon at the time.
Okay.
And you know, that was my first real experience in sales in general. And just kind of customer service. I mean, I guess restaurants are customer service too, but you know, when it actually comes to selling something, you know, and you know, I worked there for about 8 months. I actually worked with Fernando. I know you, you're very familiar with Fernando. And
Yeah. Is that how you guys met originally?
so me and Fernando, we actually went to high school together.
Oh, okay.
But we were, you know, we were kind of going through the whole trading phase. You know, obviously we didn't have the structure that we do now. We were kind of really just starting from scratch. And this is why I love sharing this, because, you know, there's really no bigger connection than, you know, being able to meet new people and get, you know, connections off of a stranger. You know, that
Yes.
person that person that you know really well, you know, in my eyes, can't help you as much as somebody that you don't know, because there's so much information that somebody knows that you may not know, and that they can provide to you very, very easily. So basically I was working at this job, and me and Fernando were trading at the time. And I'd actually gotten a connection to real estate from that whole experience from working at the job. A lot of people, you know, were at the time were doing their real estate license. They were doing the courses. And, you know, they encouraged, you know, obviously, you know, you don't want to work here for the rest of your life. You want to go out there. You want to become self-employed, blah, blah, blah.
Was it your managers that said that?
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't the managers. It was actually people who worked there.
That's good. That's
so
good.
so there were people there who were like, oh yeah, man, I'm just, you know, I'm here temporarily, man. I'm just here to, you know, save up some money, you know, and so that way I can invest in myself. And, you know, at the time we were already doing trading and stuff, but I wasn't trading personally. I wasn't like trading money yet. I was more learning how to trade before I put my money in. And I was really, you know, taking my time on that process. But, you know, kind of long story short, you know, I took the leap of faith. I actually, a girl I was seeing at the time, she got me in connect with, you know, a very, very top salesman in, you know, real estate. You know, he became my mentor at that point. and we kind of hit it off from that point. And you know, I actually just started my own real estate personal like corporation, like brand.
There you go.
And yeah, I'm about 2 months in on that. So I kind of, you know, have transitioned from, you know, learning the game of the real estate and actually, you know, applying the knowledge to my own benefit. So that way I can, you know, not only help other people like my mentor did, but I can actually expand and grow a little bit more for myself too.
There you
So,
go.
yeah.
And that's all in the works. Like you're transitioning, you said, over the last couple of months into that.
Yeah, so you know, it's been a little bit of a journey. These past 2 years have been, you know, 100%. You know, it's been a little difficult. Whenever you're, you know, taking a leap of faith and, you know, you're investing in yourself as far as, you know, trying to become a self-employed. I mean, you know it more than anybody. You know, especially, you know, we work in very similar, you know, industries as far as, you know, solar and houses. I mean, it's the same. It's relevant to the same thing. It's all sales, you know. And the way that you hustle is what's gonna, you know, put food on your table, what's gonna, you know, keep the heat on, all that type of stuff. But the key for me is that, you know, I had to surround myself with people who could actually teach me things, like people like, because like I said, when I was working those jobs, you know, I was just doing the same job over and over again. Whenever I go to work, I always have questions. I always have something that I say, hey, like, how can I do this better? You know, we're going to have this conversation today too about the event. You know, after the event today, we're going to all sit down together. We'll say, hey, what could we do? What could we have done better? What could we do different? And what better experience could we give for either our client or just, you know, people in general, you know?
That's good, because I feel like the majority, you know, or I don't want to put labels on anybody, but that's true growth. You know, you're looking and trying to find the lesson in what you're doing, and you're trying to make improvements and adjustments. And ultimately that's how you win the game. You know what I mean? So you're on the right path, and that's excellent. Really quick, I kind of want to backtrack. We'll pick back up here, but you were telling me, you know, you were at this job at Verizon. How old were you? You were 19, 18?
I was, so when we were working at that job, I believe I was 21,
Oh, okay.
maybe 22. Yeah. So maybe I was younger. I was around 21, maybe 20, 21, around that area.
Okay.
And you know, the premise of, you know, the premise of that job, I'm sorry, were you going to ask a question about it?
No, I was just trying to get down to like what changed in your mind to where you wanted to like totally go into entrepreneurship, because like being an employee and being an entrepreneur are two totally different things. One, you were saying, you know, you mastered systems when you went to work. Basically, you know, you learned the system, you mastered it. And I find that commonality in a lot of people that I know. We get there, we do it, and then you're like, now what? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And you're like, man, you feel stuck. You know, you feel like you're not going anywhere. So like for you at 21, what was it that said, and you know, what was it that flipped that switch for you to go from,
so
hey, I want to take control of my own destiny?
yeah, no, that's a great question. You know, when I was working there, I actually remember the exact day, and you can ask Fernando about it too. It was a really great day. Um, I remember I was going to community college at the time, and I was working. Obviously, I was working more than 40 hours a week, and you know, one week I was just like, man, like I really, you know, I really need to figure this out because I hate being here all day. I hate, you know, to be honest, total transparency, you know, that semester of college, I was not doing so well. Matter of fact, I only passed one of my classes, that whole semester. And I was really kind of down on myself. I was like, is this the right path for me? Is school the right path that I want to do right now? Now, obviously my long-term goal is to get a degree. Like, you know, like none of my family has, actually, that's a lie. My grandmother has gotten a degree. But you know, I mean, degrees back then and degrees today are a little bit, you know, different.
Yeah.
But besides that, nobody in my family's gotten a degree. So
Okay.
in my head, I gave that myself a personal challenge. Like, hey, I need to go out there, and I need to finish no matter what. And
There you
you
go.
know, for me, during that time when I was at Verizon, I was just sitting there like, I need to figure out a different route. And that's when I started connecting with people around me, saying like, hey man, like, you know, I'm getting kind of sick of the work, but not my managers obviously, but like just people, coworkers that I was working with.
Yeah.
And you know, one of them mentioned the real estate license, and I was like, I should look into that, blah blah blah. He recommended a great site to get, you know, my certification. And you know, within 2-3 months I had my real estate license already. You know, obviously
Wow.
with COVID now, it's a little bit different. But when the day I got the day that I established that I wanted to be in real estate, you know, I remember I was doing the courses, I was about to get my test date to go take the exam, and I was at work, I was at Verizon, and I was just sitting there, just doing nothing, literally just standing there, just like, why
Burning
am I
time.
here? But literally just wasting space, wasting time. Like, why am I here, basically? And you know, I looked over to Fernando, and I was like, and we were trading at the time too, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna leave. And he was like, what? He's like, bro, I'm gonna leave. Like, I'm gonna leave right now. And he was like, bro, like, why? Like, you're just gonna dip? And I was like, yeah. And I remember I went up to my manager. I put in my 2 weeks, right? I put in my 2 weeks, and because I want to do it respectfully. Obviously, I didn't,
Yeah.
which by the way, I don't recommend. But
I don't
at the
either,
time,
but I've been in your boat.
at the time though, I was just like, I need to get out of here. I need to leave. So I went to my manager. I said, hey, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. And she was like, okay, well, all you need to do is just sign this paperwork, blah, blah, blah. And I signed all the paperwork. I stayed for probably about another hour and a half, and then I left, and then I never went back. And
Wow.
I remember that was the minute, that was literally the definitive moment in my life where I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Keep in mind, I did not have my license yet. I really hadn't started trading yet, you know, but the thing about it is that I had the opportunities presented to me that I know works for people. I know that these type of ordeals can help people grow, right? It's not about money. Like the minute that you separate yourself from how much money you make to how much time you spend, right? Because what's really the value of you spending time with a loved one? There is no value on that. You know, there
100%.
is no value. Like $100, or, you know, spend, you know, the whole week being able to work from home and spend time with your kid or spend time with your girlfriend, you know, like those are the moments that really matter more than the money itself. And that's why I took the leap. And you know, here I am today. It's been a great year. 2020 is definitely, it's not even over yet, and we still have plenty to do. So
You
that
got
was
that
kind of my
2020
leap of faith
vision.
moment. Yes, sir. You know the
Now,
deal.
I want to ask you, and I actually was writing something down that
Yeah.
I was writing down a phrase that you messaged me, I believe, like a week ago, that I want to touch on later. I'm not going to ruin it, but we'll touch on it later. Now, I wanted to ask you, in taking that leap of faith, you know, for a lot of people out there, they hear that and they're probably like, you know, Doug did it. He articulates himself well. I can see why he did it. But in that moment, man, when you're in the crossroads and you're like, wow, do I either go left or right? And you're thinking about it, and you got all this fear, probably got all this anxiety, and then you're thinking about like, dang, what is the family going to think? You
Yeah.
know, you're thinking of all these things. So tell me a little bit about that, because those are the moments that people don't get to see. We don't post that on our social media. You know what I mean? And for a
Yeah.
lot of people out there, man, you know, we leave it in a lot of times, you know, up to prayer, and that's great. But sometimes we don't have like that perspective of what other people go through. And I think just hearing that, like, did you have money saved when you were thinking of, hey, I'm going to make this transition?
So you know, to touch on a couple of your points, to answer your question, the first question, I did not have that much money saved up. You know, at the time I was living you know, at the time I was living in an apartment, kind of very close to where I was working at the Verizon store. And, you know, I, like I said, I was working 40 plus hours. You know, I was kind of, for the past, like probably 3 months, I'd been saving a lot of my checks. But really that's really about it. That's really all I had,
Wow.
you know? So, you know, the beautiful thing, and I wanted to kind of revert back to, because you mentioned about my family, right? Like, you know, when I took that leap of faith, I quit my job, and, you know, I told them, you know, about what I wanted to do, real estate, you know, real estate and, real estate and trading. You know, my family didn't understand it, honestly, at first, right?
Yeah.
You know, they gave me a hard time about it, right? They told me, you know, you should stick to school, you know, even though I wasn't doing well at the time. Basically what I told them is I was like, listen, I'm not giving up on anything that I'm doing right now. I mean, I guess my job, my Verizon
Yeah.
job, but, you know, I wasn't going to be there forever anyway. But, you know, I told her, I basically told her, like, this situation that I'm in is going to really, you know, elevate me while I go to school. Not only for, you know, like book smarts, but for street smarts, you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to mature myself and be able to go back into school with a different mindset of, you know, I'm here to get things done. I'm not here to just mess around. You know, when I was going to community college when I was younger, I wasn't taking it seriously, right? Like, you get it, the first year you get out of high school and you go to community college, you're like, oh, the teachers don't care. I don't have to go to class, right? And then before you know it, it's just like, why did I do that? You know,
Yeah.
it's almost like when you're a senior in high school and you think like, yo, I was stupid when I was a freshman, you know, like it's like that same mindset, that it's that paradigm shift that you have in life. And that's why I'm going back to school. I've already gone to Fresno State for a semester already. And, you know, I feel like when I left my job, that was really the definitive moment. I need to commit my time to something else, because right now I'm wasting my time for a minimal paycheck. If that kind of, you know, if that kind of makes sense. But, you know, my family had a huge impact on that. And, you know, to be honest, like, when I took the leap of faith, you know, I was paying like 800, or no, it was less than that, probably like $600 a month for just my rent. I was paying my PG&E bills. I had my car payment. Actually, no, wait, no, I had my car paid off at that time. But I had like car insurance, all that good stuff. So, you know, I wasn't in the best position, right? But, you know, I feel like, and I'm starting to learn these things too. When you put yourself in a position that, you know, you got to grind it out, you got to push forward. That's when the adversity comes up. That's when, you know, a lot of, you know, your fears are like alleviated, because if you can prove yourself once, then everybody will take you seriously at that one point. And I'll just say this final point too. You know, my parents were extremely skeptical about, you know, me doing all this stuff, you know, the trading and, you know, all the real estate stuff. But, you know, now I talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, you know, you shouldn't go back to school. Like, and I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
and that actually motivated me more too, because, you know, for my parents to be like, oh, you need to go to school, blah, blah, blah. And then for now them to just be like, oh no, you're good, man. You know, it kind of
Yeah.
made me feel like, not in an aspect that they were giving up on me, but I feel like they just kind of gave up on the goal. And I was like, that motivated me. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
it's
That,
because you just exceeded their expectations in many ways, you know, and I feel like a lot of the generations, and I'm not trying to put, you know, my perspective on that, but just seeing it, like, a lot of people then think that education is the only way based on how the world used to be. But now, you know, in our time frame, you don't need school. You know,
yeah,
school's great. Don't get me wrong. You know, I graduated with a 4-year degree. I'm glad you're persevering through even everything you're doing, man, because it's not easy juggling all the things that you're juggling. And we'll get to that because you're a very schedule oriented person. From what
oh, you're good.
I know you to be, you're very schedule oriented. And I love that about you. You know, it's inspired me to get a schedule going of my own, because I've been the type of person to kind of go with the flow in the past, you know. especially, you know, just kind of hopping around all these sales jobs.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to actually ask you, so we mentioned a lot about trading already, and the reason I have you on here as well is because I get so many questions about trading. I get so many questions about cryptocurrency. Now, I did cryptocurrency about 2 years ago, lost a lot of money, left a bad taste in my mouth. So ever since then, I've kind of been hesitant on investing money in those directions. But for the people that follow me, that know me, that have trading questions, genuine trading questions, let's first dive into what the Forex market is, because that, you know, most people don't even know, man. I talk to so many people and they think trading is just stock. You know, they don't know about Forex, or they don't know about anything. So let's take a dive into what is Forex, if you were to explain it to somebody so where they can understand it.
Absolutely. I can definitely explain, all the very, very, aspects of trading that we do. A lot of people, when we talk about trading, they think, oh, that's the stock market. I don't want to trade the stock market. What people need to realize is that the biggest separation in the markets of what we do, first off, Forex is foreign exchange, right? So foreign exchange is basically we're exchanging currencies at different price points. Okay, so for example, we're trading this morning, right? This morning we traded gold, right? So we traded the price of gold compared to the price of the US dollar. Okay, so basically what we are doing is we are buying in at the price of what gold is, and we're saying that we're either buying, which means it goes up, or we're selling, which means it goes down. And how the comparison works for that is that it's correlated with other currencies. So for example, I just told you that we traded gold to the US dollar. So that means the price of gold, if we wanted to buy, we're thinking that the dollar is going to tank, right? So if the dollar tanks, the price of gold is going to go up, right? And vice versa. If the price of gold goes down, then the price of the dollar, or the price of the dollar is going to go up at that point, right? That is a very, very generic, basic, step one explanation of what we do, okay? But here's the biggest transformation that's different from the stock market, right? First off, whenever you are trading, manipulation is the number one biggest thing, right? Because manipulation, the banks and higher, investment firms and just, overall, organizations run these markets, right? The key is to have less manipulation in your trading. Okay, the stock market is $1 billion trading trading format, right?
The US stock market?
Yeah, the stock market.
Okay.
Yes. So Forex trading is $1 trillion market. $1 trillion. So there's trillions of dollars traded in the foreign exchange market every week, every day, honestly. So the biggest difference from what the stock market, and this is what I get a lot, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, it's the stock market. Yeah. Oh, cool. Like, no, like that beginners need to understand that we are not trading Apple. We're not trading Tesla. Like those are like suicide stocks in my eyes, unless you're holding for like 30 years. And that's a little different, but
like Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah. Like Warren Buffett, like if you have a ton of money, and you want to dividend trade, the markets are just vastly different. So billions to trillions, I mean, it's no comparison, right? There's no real market that that you can be in and think that, oh, I'm safe, right? Especially in the stock market. The biggest difference in manipulation with these markets is the time frames. So the Forex market opens up on Sunday, and it's open until Sunday, and it closes on Friday. Okay. The stock market closes every single day at 12 o'clock, right? So if you're the type of person who places a trade, if you place a trade and your trade in the stock market and your trade closes at 12, the banks are literally able to see what your position is at, and they can manipulate it and say, hey, we're going to push price down to take him out of his trade and then move on, right?
Wow.
The same type of things can happen in Forex too, but it's not as manipulated as the stock market is. So that's the biggest differentiating factor that I want people to understand, right off the bat. We are not stock market trading. We are currency exchange trading.
Okay.
One more example that I want to just give real quick is that, if you travel out of the country as well, if you travel out of the country, if you travel out of the country, every time you exchange your currency, that's Forex. You're exchanging your US dollars for a Canadian dollar, and you're either getting less money or you're getting more money.
Okay.
So that's really the premise of, what we do. We are here building a format of influential, sufficient traders who can not only take our trades. I drop trades every single week, normally about 3 trades. And, we want to duplicate the profits for everybody that is, taking the leap of faith on themselves, not only with real estate, but with trading.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell, just a very general, general idea of what we do.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
just so you know, you're one of the most successful traders in the Forex market that I'm actually close to. So it's interesting, and I'm grateful for getting this perspective. I have 2 questions for you in regards to the Forex market, just based on things you already said. So for the people, because I understand what you mean by $1 trillion versus $1 billion market. Can you explain why that's so and how you know that's so?
So the reason why I know this for a fact is that the stock market is one solid foundation of verified income, right? Now, when we are trading these exchanges, we're not just trading one organization, right? Like the NASDAQ, the US 30, all those types of organizations, those are just based on one format, right? For the currencies, we are trading actual economies, right? Like we are trading, like for example, if you're trading the euro, the price of the euro, that's extremely valuable because basically how the euro is affected is based on how the economy runs, right?
Wow.
For a lot of people, while Donald Trump was in office, right, the price of the dollar was actually doing very, very well, and here's why: because Donald Trump is very eccentric on U.S. economy. Improving the American, the American. And I'm not a politic guy, so don't think that I'm like here, like, woo, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
no, you're good. I'm not either.
but that's why these things happen, right? There's so many different things that can impact these currencies, and it's not just one-sided. It's not just Apple dropped their earnings today, let's trade that. No, there's opportunity in these markets for you to catch low risk trades with us and be able to take advantage of the longer scale movement of trades, opposed to holding stocks for 20, 30 years. By the way, if you're going to do that, invest in a Roth IRA, because that is the absolute way to go with long-term investments. But just sticking to the point of what I'm talking about, there's so many more opportunities for you to get into a trade, and there's so many different reasons that these trades happen. So that's really, really in a nutshell. That's really, really in a nutshell. I'm getting emails and texts too. I'm sorry, man.
No,
I don't
you're
know.
good. You're good. You can't hear it. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Busy man. He's a busy man. He got a growing team. He's in real estate. He probably submitted some offers, right before this call. Now, thank you for explaining, and just to kind of give some context, because I know what you're talking about. I've been and listened in on some of your guys' meetings in the past. So like I'm familiar a lot of what you guys talk about, man. It's how I think also. Now, you talked about the exchange manipulation, Explain that for somebody that really is, is interested in what you're talking about, but they're like, what do you mean manipulation? What do you mean that the banks and corporations can manipulate the exchange? I don't think that they get that.
Yeah. So, keep in mind that there's a lot to understand when you're first starting. We're not here to vomit you with all this information at once, right? The only thing that you need to understand as far as manipulation of that aspect is that the banks control these markets, right? Citibank, Chase, Wells Fargo, all these banks, they are essentially trading your money. They are essentially trading your money while your bank, because if money just sits in a bank, it doesn't grow, right? But how do the banks leverage off that money? They trade it, right? Now, the difference between what banks do with your money and what actually happens is totally irrelevant, because the establishment of a bank can trade trillions and trillions of dollars right off the bat, and it can affect the movement of a market in itself, right? And here's the messed up part. You're the one saving your money. You're only getting 2% back every year by just saving a certain amount of money in a checking account or savings account. You're only getting 2% a year, right? We get, as traders, just as a investment banker trader, we can make 20% in one day, and I'm not trying to blind you with results, but we do this. Like, this is something that you can make 2% in a day if you want to.
Yeah, I've seen some of your Instagram posts, of trades that you've caught, and I'm like, dang, Doug's on a mission. You know what I'm saying? It's neat to see.
I mean, $100, $100 account, 2% growth, that's $2, right? Like, we catch $10, $15 trades. We do a lot of different aspects of low risk trading that I think a lot of other people do as well. But we try to duplicate what we can from people that have done it, people who have become six-figure traders, people who, are even five-figure traders, right? I mean, I'm a five-figure trader, like here in front of you now. And, I have mentor after mentor after mentor when it comes to trading, just like with real estate, right? Like, yeah. I was, I started out in real estate and I was just working. I was working my butt off, but I was learning at the same time. So, because I was learning and I decided to branch out and do my own thing, it's the same thing with trading, right? I had to learn. I always remember who my mentors are. I always remember, who was there through the thick and thin. And, I implement I apply to other people what, I was able to learn, in my situation. So, the main premise of trading, it's not about trading. It's about networking. It's about connecting. It's about being able to really, really, take advantage of the information that people have when it comes to, a setup, or how do I look at this chart, or, what do I need to be doing better to be a disciplined trader? All these things factor in. When it comes to, just building your business of trading. So that is a, definitely a key point on my side.
Okay. Now, yeah. I have a question for you, because like I said, I've been to, events in the past, and I realized that you guys also, not only like there are fundamental things that you learn in trading that you guys also can apply in your day-to-day life. What for you, what is the biggest lesson or thing you can take away from trading that you've been able to apply in your life?
That's actually sorry, I got to plug my phone in. My phone.
Okay.
But that's actually a really, really good question. Instead of just focusing it on trading, I want to try and make it eccentric to just becoming a self-entrepreneur, right? Like, what is the biggest lesson that you can take as, being a self-employed individual who owns your own business and, really, takes the leap of faith? I actually am, learning a lot about it, but I really think that, you have to get your mindset right. You got to get a strong mindset that is able to adapt to failure, right? Failure is the number one thing that people go through. And the way that people react off of failure is what defines them in the future, in my eyes. If you can,
you said it great.
hey, I appreciate that, man. If you can adapt your mindset to deflect all the negative energy that's coming towards you, whether it's about your business or whether it's about a life decision that you are making, you will become very, very successful on your own. Because there have been so many people in my life, including my own parents, that said, I don't think this is right for you. I don't think that you are cut out for this. I don't think you can, I don't think you can last, basically, right? And to the people that I say that, I just say, first off, I never like passing judgment. I don't like passing judgment on anybody. If anybody's starting their own business, the only thing that I do is I support. It costs $0 to support somebody's business. It costs $0 to give somebody a little bit of extra support to be able to, just make them feel good about themselves, even if you've had a bad week. Because I'll tell you this much, man, these 2 years have been they've been a blessing, no doubt, but it hasn't been easy. If everybody's sitting at home and, you think of me as, a successful trader, and you think, oh yeah, he's won all of his trades. There are times that you have to discipline yourself, and you have to learn from your mistakes that you've made in trading, in itself, or just in life too. But in trading in general, there's going to be lessons that you're going to learn. You're going to lose a few bucks, right? You're going to lose a few bucks here and there. The question is, who are you getting your experience from? Who are you getting your discipline from? Who is telling you to take all these trades and to over leverage your whole account, right? If that is the type of energy that you want, then that's totally fine. That's free education for you, right? And basically, the saying of it is that, you get what you pay for, right? You get what you pay for, and you get what's coming to you if you don't put in the work, right? So the only thing that I want to tell, any entrepreneur that's out there, listening, prepare your mindset for failure. If you can adapt, adjust, and recuperate from any sort of bad negative energy towards your business, and you're able to adapt and grow from it, you're going to be successful. No doubt. No doubt. I've dealt with so many different things that just, I thought would stifle my business, that I thought that, I should just stop. Just quit, go back to doing what you're doing, and, move on from this. But
while you were trading?
No, just in general,
Okay.
as far as, just not necessarily with trading, but just people who have a failure, right? And this is just a perspective that I've seen from students, right? There'll be new students who hop in, we get them on an account, they take a trade by themselves, when they weren't supposed to, right? they end up losing it, right? And they only lose like $5-10, right? And they say, I'm done. I can't do this, right? And those same mindsets that people who just give up so quickly, you're giving up on something that is there for you. It's always going to be there for you. I'm out here traveling, I'm out here traveling, and I'm working at the same time. There's really no better feeling than being able to be mobile and be able to work. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the money.
There's no boundaries, but I know what you're saying, because it feels different. Like, going back to your experience with Verizon, you were planted in one location. You couldn't go out and go, do these things and make money. You had to go to work, clock in, go back home. So I get exactly where you're coming from when you say that. Now, I kind of wanted to tap in when you talked about mindset, because this is Luxic Vue Mindset.
Yeah.
And, for a lot of people out there, it's important to establish that mindset, like literally regardless of whatever you're doing, because your mindset allows you, your mindset ultimately is a form of beliefs around, what's possible in your day-to-day life.
Yep.
And if you don't have that proper mindset of like, hey, I can go out and accomplish these things, or you're hanging on to that failure, the L you took, that can hold a lot of weight just overall, and a lot of people don't realize that, there were times where I've taken, countless losses, big ones, financial losses. And those are, somewhat hard to reestablish yourself in some cases. Like I lost a lot of money. I don't know, for you, I'm sure you've lost trades. Tell us a little bit about, the losses that you've had to deal with and some minor failures. I don't really like calling them failures, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will give you this one example. Okay. And, I never share, I really try not to share my wins, but I definitely, I do try and share my losses when I have them.
Yeah.
I do post a lot of, my company that I work with, they are cutting back on people, just posting things in general. But I'll tell you this story. And it's just totally the perfect example of, just being able to have the adaptive mindset to not quit. Right. So this was probably a little bit over a month ago. Okay. Just logistics wise, I'll share my journey as far as trading. About a little bit over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, I started an account with $100. Okay. And I started growing the account very, very slowly. Right. And each month I would add another $100 to it. So I did that for about 8 months. Right. So I was growing the account slowly. I was taking good trades and I was growing it slowly. I was disciplining myself too. I was only taking like 3 trades a week. Right. So really like 12 to 15 trades a month. Okay. In that amount of time that I kept adding money and, through each month, I grew my account to about $8,000 in that 8 months.
Wow.
Okay. In that aspect, which is incredible, right? Like I love sharing these types of things. But in that one aspect of life that happened, that new moment where I was like, yo, I have a bank account that I can just grow whenever I want, right? I got into the mindset where greed started kicking in, right? So whenever you have profits, you think like, oh, I can get to this. And I remember to this day, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to get to 10K by next month. I'm going to get to 10K. So what did I do? I started taking bigger trades, right?
Oh,
and I remember this. I remember so vividly. There was a couple trades that I had taken that were extremely high trades. I think I lost about 1,500 on one trade, on one total trade. So out of that 8,000, I went back down to about I can't do math right now, like 6,500. So I think I was a little lower than that, to be honest. I think I was at like 6,000. I looked at that and I was like, oh my God, like I should just take out all my money. Like, let's stop this before it goes to zero. And let's just move on. Let's put this money into something productive or just save it or, whatever. And, I was talking to some people around me who were trading and they're like, yo, like you got to expect your loss. Right. But here's the thing about trading. Whenever you have big losses like that, it resets your brain. It resets you to go back to the roots that you did, right? And literally, so that was 8 months into the account, right? So within the next 3 to 4 months, and getting a little bit closer to today, I grew it over 10,000 within that amount of time. So it took, actually, I think it was longer, actually. I think it was like probably like 5-6 months, but in like another
From the
five
loss.
from the
From,
loss. So I was at 6,500, and my account right now, to be exact, I guess I shouldn't read it. That's kind of weird. But I made it to my goal that I said I wanted to do originally.
I mean, you could share it if you want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So currently it's loading up right now. I'm at $10,576.
Yeah.
So
I like to hear wins too, man. You know, that's
hey,
always good too.
but the situation of it is, to be honest, I don't really take money out of that account either. That's more of just kind of a long term. That's long term.
So that's discipline. That's straight up discipline, because for somebody that has been investing in this, adding his own money, constantly taking trades, came back from a big L, you know, and to continue not to take money out of it, man, that you're very disciplined. You know, I don't know if I know anybody that'll do that. Now, what's your goal with that? And I'll let you kind of pick up from there.
Basically, it really comes down to, if you want to live the life you got to live, you got to take losses. You got to be able to learn from your mistakes. Now, a lot of people who trade, they don't learn from their mistakes, and they just keep putting their money in. They keep putting their money in, and they keep doing it over and over and over again. That's why it's not about trading. It's all psychological. Put yourself in the position of somebody around you that is actually proving the sufficient results that you can become a sufficient trader, right? If you're taking advice from, some kid on YouTube saying, hey, you should buy this, you're going to get the results that you put into it. Now, if you actually step back, educate yourself, apply yourself, and really be able to grind it out, you're going to be successful in this industry. That's why, every single person that I bring into my organization, I put them on a trading plan, right? And it's literally the same trading plan that I just told you. So by you being able, to post this today, we're putting people on free game. Obviously,
exactly.
taking the trades is totally different, right? But that's where we come in, right? But I really, really do think that to be able to bounce back from any sort of situation that you're in, that's what defines you and your business more than anything. And like I said, these past 2 years, just on the side of trading, even on real estate, it hasn't been easy. It has not been easy. It's been extremely, it's been stressful. I've gotten anxiety. I've had relationships end over my business just because I need structure. I need to improve every single day. I need to find out, what can I be doing more? How can I help? And, the mindset that you build, just going back to, the mindset that you build throughout this whole journey is really what's going to bring a successful brand and attention to, a lot of people. So, yeah.
I really like that, man. You talked a little bit about your organization. And that brings me to the question the phrase, that I wanted to tap on. I commented on one of your Instagram stories, and it was a really good phrase that you sent because it allowed me to reflect on my train of thought. And you were like, I think I had sent like a fire emoji on one of your trades you made. I think it was like a $200 something trade in a day or something like that. And then I sent you that fire emoji, and you're like, impact over currency or over profits. I loved it, man. Go into depth a little bit on that phrase. And I knew what you were talking about, because to me, I feel like you were talking about, hey, I'm about the impact versus what I'm making because of the people that are around you and the people that you want to basically fill their cups. So that's how I kind of took it as well. But yeah, just go ahead and, explain to me what you meant by impact over currency or impact over profits.
Absolutely, man. So I do want to share one story. before I do that though, I just want to touch on that. You know, when I say impact over currency, you know, I want people to make currency, right? But what I want more is to people to be literally inspired by what they're doing themselves. A lot of people will give me credit for a trade that worked out. A lot of people will give credit, you know, to you know, Mauricio, other people within our group. But the main premise of it is that you took the trade. It wasn't me. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
took it. You pushed the button yourself. That is your responsibility, right? Now, keep in mind, it goes the same way if you lose, right? But here's the situation though, because I've seen so many people, you know, I've seen so many people impacted and influenced by this stuff. I've literally seen 18-year-olds. I've seen 18-year-olds get out of high school and literally start doing this and become five-figure traders themselves before, you know, before some of them even have a car to drive or their license.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, but I want to share this one story because it really, really impacted me. I'm not going to share like his name or anything like that, just out of
No worries.
respect.
Yeah, no worries.
You know, you know, I respect confidentiality for sure. But there was a student, and I'll actually share a couple with you.
Okay.
There was a student, he's actually from our area, and you know, at the time, you know, he was working at school districts, right? He was working at, you know, different types of schools, you know, as like a teacher aide or teacher assistant, right? And you know, obviously COVID hit, right? COVID hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And you know, he was living on it. He was living on his own. He had a rented out house with him and well, at time girlfriend, right? And he was like, hey man, you know, I lost my job. You know, I don't know what to do. You know, I see you guys have been posting, you know, I think he saw one of my charts or something. And he was like, hey man, you know, I see you've been investing money. See you've been making money. You know, I'm really at the point to where I have money saved up, but I'm not making money. I'm just spending it on food, on all this different stuff. And, you know, this is someone who's very personal to me too. Someone very close to me, not just some random person, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, what basically happened was, you know, I plugged him in, I got him, you know, set up on an account, and he's actually doing one of the challenges that we have. It's called FTMO. I could go into that a little bit later, but
Okay.
essentially what it is it's a trading challenge that if you pass the challenge, you get a funded account, right? Now, where the catch is that, you know, the broker is paying you a $10,000 account. So any profits that you make after that, they take 30% of it. So for example, if you make, you know, if you get the challenge and you pass and you make $1,000, you get paid $700 out of that money, right? So it's pretty worth it because then you could take higher risk trades. You could take, you know, you can make more money on your trades. So anyways, I plugged him in, I got him going. You have 30 days to pass the challenge. He passed it in 7. He passed it in 7 days, and he got his funded account.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been trading for probably close to, I want to say probably close to like 4 or 5 months now. And, you know, last week we took a heavy trade. And I would say since he's had his funded account, he's probably made close to $4,000 or $5,000 ever since in those 4 months. And like I said, I'm not here to blind people with results, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he has the mindset now. He was influenced enough to literally know that when school comes back, he's not going back. Like he's not going back. There's no way. There's no way he's going back to you know, work as a teacher aide. Like, now, is he going to go to school and become a teacher? Maybe, you know, and I encourage that behavior because I'm doing the same thing, right? But his mindset now was he is totally zeroed in on what we're doing. And he's able to not only see the currency, but he's able to see the influence of what we do to take care of the people on our team. Now, as a team structure, you know, it's very difficult to, you know, stay organized and really be able to, you know, you basically what I'm saying is you're going to have speed bumps because you're trying to help so many people. Sometimes it's difficult to, you know, you can't be everywhere at once.
They're relying on you too, most of them, I feel like, right?
Exactly. You know, a lot of people rely on it, but here's the key though, you know, because I have calls 3 days every single week. If you hop on those calls, you're going to catch value, whether it's through trade or whether through, you know, real estate, whatever it is. But I have 3 days every week committed to just trading, right? So as long as you put in the 10%, I'll put in the 90%. If you could just click on my link when I post it, you're going to get trades. You're going to get trades. You're going to get value. And, you know, not only that, but you're going to get influence as well. Because it's not just me who talks on my calls. Sometimes, just like with Luxic Vue, right? Sometimes I'll have people talk, you know, like whether it's motivational or whether they're talking about trading. I'll kind of have people fill in for that. But real quick, I know I've been talking a lot. I'm rambling.
No, you're good. You're good.
I do want to share one more story. I want to share one more story about this impact. We're actually implementing right now. We're doing a scholarship program to certain individuals who you know, who have interests, who are motivated, who are down to commit, you know, a little bit of, you know, maybe 3 months of their time to really, you know, hone in and learn how to trade. Okay. And right now we're doing a promotion that if you're one of those types of people, I will pay for your first month. Right. So this one guy connected with me. I to be honest, I don't know how he found me. He probably saw a chart or something, and I have no idea. I don't know how the internet works sometimes.
You're famous, man.
But this guy, he's from Indonesia, right?
Oh wow.
He's not even from, you know, a block radius.
States, yeah.
Sure. You know, like he's not even a country radius, you know, from me. You know, he's in a totally different area.
He find you on Instagram?
Yeah, he found me on Instagram. I actually called him one time. And actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I called him and another buddy called him, and we got like $85 worth of international charges. And it was like a 25, probably a 25-minute conversation.
Like $1 a minute, $1.25 or something like that.
Oh, crazy. My God. It's insane. But I was talking to him about what he's doing, and you know, he was one of the people I gave a scholarship to. I gave him his first month, and he started, you know, he just went off. Like he just started learning, started honing in on, you know, just all the information that was given, and most importantly, he started trading. Okay. And kind of halfway through, you know, his month, you know, he was very, very profitable. I think he made like probably close to maybe a little bit under $200 in his first month. And, you know, I was sitting with him, you know, I was like, hey man, you know, I don't really know culture over there. Like, I don't know, you know, how things are over there as far as you know, like what is an acceptable, you know, salary over there? Like what is going on? Like, as far as like how are you guys able to live as far as like currencies that, because we're so different in different areas. Yeah. And he was like, he basically told me, he was like, yeah, you know, working, you know, 40 plus hours a week, you know, maybe some part-time shifts, you probably make about $300 a month. And I was like, what? You know, wow. like that's, and first off, like I said, I had no idea. I had no clue that that's how much they were getting paid. And then here this man is just, you know, he literally made almost a whole month's salary or a whole month's pay in half the time, you know? And I spoke to him and I said, listen, like, I want you, you know, I want you to create an account for your family. I want you to create an account that you trade very like low risk, right? Very, very low risk, because even if he catches a trade and he makes, 10, 15 bucks, that's still a high impact. That's still good.
Yeah.
That's money that's going straight to his family. That's money that's going straight, and he can have his personal account for himself, but for his family, he could start providing for them, if that makes sense. And we've been growing ever since. Obviously it's very hard to be in contact with him because he's in Indonesia, but he's very, very affluent to me. He always reaches out over like Telegram and Instagram as well. But that's something that's impacted his life. He's already contributed to his family. He's already started paying, helping his family with expenses because of this, right? And he had to learn the lessons too. He took losses. He didn't just start winning. You know what I mean? Like he had to experience, some of the reds, but he didn't give up. He didn't give up. And once he grew his account, he started helping his family, and now he's helping his family.
That's so powerful, man.
Is there really any other impact than actually being able to provide for your family that is in a totally different culture, totally different environment, and to do this from being at home while you're spending time with them? Like there's no bigger impact than that. There really isn't. And that's why, I always preach to people, I'm not here to sell you on money. I'm here to sell you on investing. Yes, investing. Yeah, I want you to invest your money, no doubt, because your money just sitting there isn't going to do anything. But what's your bigger goals than that? Like what's the bigger picture? Like do you want your family to keep working? Do you want your it's all scenario driven.
Yeah.
What is
that why?
What is the why? Why do you need this extra money? Because if you don't know why you need it, then you're not going to take it seriously. And when I heard that situation just with this student from Indonesia, it really just kind of baffled me, because I knew that if he just takes maybe one or two of our trades and one of them works out, he's going to be able to take care of his family. If he wins 3 trades with us, he's going to be able to really take care of his family. And that's what I was more focused on. I was more focused on getting a family account for him, because he told me his mom's not working. Jobs over there are very, very scarce. I mean you can only imagine. And he has a little sister too. So if you really think about it, he's kind of the breadwinner of the house.
Yeah.
And he's the son. So there's a lot more to what we do than just X, Y, and Z. There's a whole spectrum of influence and information that we can provide to people who are really struggling. There's a lot of people who aren't working. COVID, they lost their jobs, and there's no sight of when they will go back, especially for schools. I know a lot of people who've lost jobs just because of schools shutting down. But that's why we really try and hone in on the individual themselves. And we want to bring motivated people in, yes, but we understand that everybody goes through speed bumps. Everybody goes through that major hurdle in their life. And, we're here to just add impact and influence and help you overcome those hurdles. So that's really what I think is, impact over profits. So,
yeah. Man, hey, you blew that question out of the water, man. I mean, honestly, thank you for sharing those stories, because it's really given us more insight to truly what you meant by it. And for a lot of people, just tuning in, I mean, just taking into that, or thinking about that perspective of, the friend that you have out in Indonesia, man, that is intense. $300 a month, that's what they're making here. We're spoiled almost. You know what I'm saying? If you have a good $15 an hour job, you're making like $2,400 a month full time, wow, cost of living must be super inexpensive out there. But that kind of leads back to where I am also with the brand, to kind of like bring that up, because I'm about empowering people, giving them that platform, or just by, sharing with them how they can make the best out of their situation financially, whether that be financially or whether that be any other way, empowering people to do, something, says a lot. And you're doing that exact same thing. You're teaching people a fundamental skill that'll put money and food on the table. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy, because in a way you have to be selfless as well in order to take your time, your energy, and to pour into other people.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit about FTMO. You had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to touch back on that.
So essentially what FTMO is, okay? FTMO is a challenge for new traders who maybe don't want to invest, their capital into one direct account, like a personal one. So the premise of it is each account, there's a 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, and 100,000. Those are each different challenges that you have to do. Each challenge has the same objective. You have to grow your account by 10%. Okay. And so, for example, 100,000, you got to grow your account 10,000. 50 is 5, and then 25 is 2,500, and then 10,000 is 1,000. For beginners, I normally recommend the 10,000 because it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to manage. But so essentially, each one of these challenges, they cost a different amount of money. And obviously the 100K is a lot higher. I think it's like $500, and then the lower end 10,000, I think it's like 165 or something. So you pay for these challenges, and you have 30 days. You have 30 days to complete the 10% challenge goal. And then after that, it goes, you have another 30 days, but you only have to grow it by 5%. You have to grow it by 5%. Okay. And once you do that, you get the challenge account, you get the funded account. Okay. And like I said, in the story I said earlier, one of my buddies, who passed the 7 days, he did both the challenges in 7 days, which is incredible. Normally
so is that getting the account from the dollar amount to a certain dollar amount, you said, grow it by 10%?
Exactly. So you get these accounts, right? And once you get the account, like once you get a funded account and you prove that you can do it, you get your money back. So that 165 that you put in, you actually get that money back. So if you get the funded account, you really pay $0 to get the account. Now, let's say, for example, you don't grow the FTMO account, the challenge account, 10%. You only grow it 5%, right, in the 30 days. As long as you stay above the $10,000, like let's say you're at $10,010, you can redo the challenge for free. You don't have to pay.
Wow.
So you don't have to pay for the challenge again, and you can redo the challenge. So this is perfect for beginner traders. This is perfect for people who really wanna see how the markets work. And first off, you could just take our trades, and you could probably pass the challenge in couple. The way that we trade, even if you lose, you won't lose too much. Can you hear me a little better?
Yeah, way better.
Okay, so essentially that's what the FTMO challenge is, though. We're really trying to hone in on beginner traders, because that is the ultimate goal of being able to be a profitable trader, is to leverage the challenge accounts. That's what you want to do. You want to leverage the challenge accounts and be able to grow them.
Really quick, you got about 20 minutes left. I know you're a very busy man. You got an event to go to. Give us a little bit of insight. So we talked a little bit about trading. We've talked about your team. How big is your team now?
Currently on my team right now, I have about a little bit over 40 people. So
that's awesome.
The team is expanding. Obviously, there's people who get discouraged. Like I said, there's people who who experience a loss and don't want to keep moving forward. But the biggest difference for me is that I don't give up on those people. And sometimes I think that can be a fault in my eyes, because sometimes, people who don't want to do something, they really won't do it. They'll do whatever they'll do whatever it is in their power to not do it. But, we've been growing pretty rapidly. To sit here and say, I have a foundation of, 40 people, literally, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had nothing. I had nothing to go from. I had, literally just, me working at my job and, me going to school. So, but yeah, no, the team's been growing rapidly. We're not stopping anytime soon. This is something that we're always going to be doing. And, there's always going to be people out there that, want to learn and want to, get a little bit more information. So.
That is awesome, Doug. I'm glad to hear that, that's working out. I'm glad to see you doing what you're doing, man. You're really being a beacon of light to go on and help. Give us a little bit of insight of what real estate has been like for you and how juggling the two, how you've been successful at juggling the two. Because some people can't do two things at once.
Yeah. It's been really stressful, to be honest. Keep in mind, once we get back in the fruition of, school too, that's going to be really hard to adapt to also. The only thing I can really say is prioritize the time that you have, because, when you get to the age, and obviously if you're younger, the sooner you start, the quicker you'll get there. But, if you can really prioritize your time into what's more important for you in your life right now, make sure that what you're investing your time into is something that's going to help you in your future and not just in your present, right? A lot of people say, hey, you want to live in the present time. You want to live in the present, which I totally agree with, right? I totally agree with. I love, the mindset and the psychological mindset of, being in present time. But, at the same time, there's so many things in our life right now that are created to distract us, that are created to take us away from what we're supposed to really be doing. Like, think about it. I'm in Vegas right now. There are millions. There are so many distractions around me constantly. But, here I am, taking time, on your podcast today. And then, I'm going to my event, and, I've been doing real estate work, today and yesterday. I'm prioritizing my time for what the future is going to do for me. So for anybody out there who is becoming an entrepreneur, who's taking the leap, give yourself 3 months. Give yourself 3 months of dedicated work. Like I said, I've had, situations, I've had relationships, and just because I was too committed to, what I was doing with my own life, right? And being too dependent on somebody else's life opposed to mine, right? And, when I'm going to be 25 in December, we're at the age of our life to where we need to be hustling, because in the next 10 to 15, maybe even 20 to 25 years, we may not have that time back. But I guarantee you that I will tell you right now, we'll have a wife and kids. I'll tell you that much.
More distractions, but for the better.
More
obviously.
distractions.
Yeah.
More distractions, right? And these are the things that you should focus on are, I was going to say hypothetical, but the things that you should focus on should be more mystery, opposed to the things that are for sure thing, right? Like, I know when I'm older, I'm going to have a wife and I'm going to have kids. What I'm not sure about is how successful my business will be at that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what am I doing today to make sure that my guaranteed family in the future is taken care of? What am I doing today? What am I what impact am I leaving on people? So if, I mean, God forbid, right? Like if something should happen to me, what message am I leaving on people to be able to impact and be able to not only, help people in their current situation, but what am I doing to improve every day? Right?
Yeah.
Like how can I become better as far as, just being able to expand my team, or sell one more house. The last thing, that I'll say just to touch up on that is, because I think you mentioned a question about real estate, right? You asked just kind of my experiences on that.
Yeah.
I've only been in real estate for about a year, and it's been nothing short of, literally it's been a miracle. I love what I do. People, say that, when you wake up for work and you're actually enthused for it, that's something that you definitely got to factor in, when you're, choosing a career path for yourself. And, real estate, whether it's wholesale or residential or commercial, whatever I'm doing, I'm always going to be around real estate. So that'll always be something that sticks with me for sure.
That's awesome, man. Honestly. Well, I know, like I said, I know you got to get going, but how can the audience find you?
So there's actually multiple ways that you guys can reach out to me. I'm currently on Instagram. You could just follow me. I don't know if I could type anything, but it's just my name, DougMcLallin. That's my username. And send me a follow, send me a message. It doesn't have to be about trading. I love connecting with new people. New friends, new connections. That's what it's all about. And that's mainly the way that you can reach out to me and just kind of get a glimpse of my journey as well.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I want to, just thank you again just for taking the time to be a part of the Luxic Vue Mindset show. Your story, I mean, is super powerful. Everything that you said, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. You touched on a lot of great points. You dropped a lot of knowledge, and they always say, success leaves clues. And I think with this episode, you left so much knowledge on the table for people. I took notes, the whole time of just saying, what I would like to do for the audience, for anybody that's interested in linking up with Doug, I will post descriptions below from, even his trading page. I'll throw that in there. If you guys are curious, give Doug a follow. And we'll go from there. But shoot, what days, so people know, because I'm actually interested in very curious, what days do you host those calls for trading? You said 3 days a week.
So normally we do Sunday calls, we do Tuesday calls, and then we do Wednesday calls as well.
Okay. What time?
So Sunday is at 3:00 every single Sunday. And then Tuesdays can kind of vary. There's not really a set time on the Tuesday calls because there's certain events going on at different times. So we trade different events on Tuesdays. But Wednesday is 5:00. Wednesday, 5:00.
5:00.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Normally the Tuesday calls are normally in the afternoon though. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just put contingent. Yeah, man. Well, again, thank you so much for being on. It's an honor just to have you. I know you feel honored being on, but hey, I think I feel more honored in this moment just because, my goal for this whole show is just to shine the spotlight on local people, on people that I know that are doing things and that can pass on and empower others with what they're doing, because I don't have all the answers and I never claimed to have them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the beauty of this whole mission that I'm on, Luxic Vue. It's the beauty in perspective, and it's all about the mindset. And thank you, Doug, for just going in and sharing with people what it takes to be a successful investor, professional and real estate agent, most definitely. But thank you again, Doug. It's been a pleasure. Cheers to the successes and the impact that you're making.
just to say one more thing, and then you know, I just want to thank you so much for, you know, inviting me onto your show. You know, I'm wishing you a lot of future success. I mean, obviously, you know, the same, you know, energy that you bring me, you know, I see it the same way around. You know, you and Destiny have definitely, you guys have, you know, started your empire, and you guys have actually been able to just grow and build. And I've, you know, obviously, you know, we've only known each other for a short amount of time, but, you know, just know the respect goes both ways. And
Thank you, brother.
you know, I wish a lot of future success, not only on your shows, but just in life in general. So thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody, that ends today's show. Have a blessed day. Put in the work, you know, take the knowledge that Doug just dropped on us and apply that to your everyday life. Without a doubt, you're going to see results. But again, don't give up, persevere, because doubt kills. So embrace the moment and truly live your legacy.